Hey there, welcome back to Johnny's Corner. Today we're going to do a little talk about, walkthrough, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, Jaws. Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Definitely one of the greatest box office attractions of all time. It's up there with Jurassic Park, which he also directed. And yeah, just lineups. Back in the 80s, 70s even, a lot of people scared of sharks after Jaws came out especially. But yeah, anyways, Jaws is one of the greatest box office attractions in the history of motion pictures. Director Steven Spielberg has brought Peter Benchley's best-selling novel to the screen with stunning power and unbearable suspense. True. Dun-it, 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 dun-it. Classic. So Roy Scheider? Roy Scheider? Anyways, awesome director, Roy Schneider, Cheater. As Amity's police chief Brody, you got Richard Dreyfuss. I love that guy. He's a class actor and just overall good human being in my opinion. He's a young ethologist. And you got Robert Shaw, classic 80s actor, tough guy, as Quint. He's the colorful shark fisherman with a touch of the manic. Are perfectly cast as three men who become allied in a real life and death hunt to destroy a killer, embodying nearly 3 tons of instant white death as a great white shark. Screenplay by Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb, I guess. Yeah, so Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, co-starring Lorraine Gary. She was in every Jaws film, I believe. And it's a Universal City Studios Corporation, 1975. This is the first issued Jaws that ever came out. It's a RCA release, at least the first issued in Canada. Actually, this is printed in the USA, so it should be the first one you saw in the movie shops. So Jaws, classic movie, everyone's seen Jaws, fucking awesome, I love it, I got them all. Classic story, starts off on a beach, very reminiscent of any kind of horror movie, bunch of cheerleaders maybe, I don't know, but a bunch of teenagers essentially are fooling around, you know, their hormones are flying, it's the summer, they're on the coast of Maine or whatever, and yeah, they're just living their life, and they're getting frisky. They're getting real frisky on the beach. And they go for a swim. Actually, they're fooling around. The guy drank too much, and he passes out on the beach. No fun for him, so she decides to get naked and run around and go for a swim late at night. Now, that's when you hear that classic ba-dum, 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 da-dum, 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 da-da-da. You know, very Hitchcockian, really good for early start director. And classic scene, a little pull under the water, huh? Hyperventilating, and then nothing. Classic start to any movie. So take a look at that. And anyway, so this girl dies. They find her body mangled on the side of the beach, and some poor fisherman finds it. So, you know, these small towns, this is right at the start of their busy season. All their money that they make is from the summer months, essentially. So you got the terrible mayor who doesn't want to spook the village and spook the potential guests that are going to be visiting this island. So they don't want to make a stink, so they try to not close the beach. You know, you only got 2 cops here. You got the sheriff, who's Roy Scheider, and then you have his deputy. And they're definitely not staffed for this many people, these many complaints. Fishermen are fighting each other over waters, blah blah blah. And they get wind of there's a shark on the loose, so the fishermen are running around or boating around, killing every little shark they see. And eventually the movie moves on. Won't get too in depth with it because we've all seen this movie. But yeah, Roy Scheider is really one of my favorite 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s actors. He's great. And we find out that it gets a little too close to home for his family. So eventually, after all these attacks, shark attacks, they close down the beach, whatever, and at the very beginning, they put a reward. Whoever gets the shark will get an award, and they're just killing all these innocent sharks and not finding the one that's the problem. So, long story short, they hire Richard Dreyfuss, who I mentioned is a ethologist, and so he studies marine life, and his opinion is we need to kill the fucker, or something in that sense. And so they have Robert Shaw, who's Quinn, and he offers to kill the shark for like $10,000 or something. I can't remember. A lot of money, but they're like, nah, we'll just. And then more people get hurt. So eventually, Richard Dreyfuss, the sheriff. You got Richard Dreyfuss, the ethologist. You got Roy Scheider, the sheriff, and then you got Quinn. It's played by Robert Shaw, and they all go together on this boat, try and hunt down this sucker. And one of the best, like, action-packed scenes. And then also there's a really classic scene with Robert Shaw talking about his experience with sharks, and just one of the best scenes of all times, reminiscent of Blade Runner, Tears of Rain, or something like that, Tears in Rain. And yeah, just really good performance by Robert Shaw, and the ending scenes are epic, and it's just, even the ending scene with the credits rolling is really peaceful and cool. It's just an awesome movie. It's up there with all the great horror movies, Exorcist, The Shining, Halloween. You could even say Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, but I think Jaws is up there, like top 3, top 5 best horror movies of all time. Most suspenseful, thrilling, and enthralling. So anyways, Jaws, original copy VHS, old school 1975 release. Great film, and great cast, and great writing and directing from a young director named Steven Spielberg. Alright, thanks for coming to Johnny's Corner, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.